Hi, my name is David Chow, and I'm doing this in another YouTube. And the title is "Don't Buy a New Expensive Car." Okay, it's an interesting title. Don't buy a new expensive car. Wow, you okay? Before I get into the topic, please, if you haven't subscribe, please smash a subscribe. If you like the content, hit the thumb up button. That will be really appreciated. You could do that after the this YouTube. Okay. Well, why do I think about do not buy a new expensive car? Well, I think I remember seeing a very successful YouTuber. He always started many years ago. Uh, I was really surprised that he 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 actually said that, young man, if you like to dream, if your dream is to own an expensive sports car, whatever it is, go for it. And I thought, my gosh, is is that his advice? I mean, can you imagine, poor man? I mean, he just finished his school, college, uni, and starting to working, getting a getting an income, and trying to save for money. And this guy said, "Well, save for the money, save money, and buy, buy your new car." My gosh, no, no, no. I mean, obviously he's very successful. He own a couple of expensive luxury car. That's fine. I mean, he's making. Uh, but okay, I can think of five reasons. Five reasons why you shouldn't buy a new expensive car, especially if you're just a young man come up from school, college, starting to work, got a job, try to save some money. Okay. The reason number one, you should not buy. Well, we know what with so-called expensive cars. A lot of car worth even $500,000 or $100,000 onwards. Like Rolls Royce, Bentley, Ferrari, Maserati. Lamborghini. You know how to pronounce it. Uh, Even the high end of Mercedes, BMW. That. Yeah, I look for those people who's making. He's got the money. He's got a couple of $1 million in the bank. He's got the cash. I mean, to spend 200,000, 100,000 is fine. I mean, he's got the money. He's making. But for young people, for young men, I mean, well, think about reason number one. Think about a car. uh, After you purchase an expensive car, you imagine you wanted to return the car after a month. The dealer will say, "Look, we'll take it back, but minus 10%." I mean, imagine the car you purchased 100,000 minus 10%, we take it back. So a couple of weeks, a couple of months, you lost 10,000. I mean, generally, well, is not uh, well, it's well known that a brand new car, after 1 or 2 years, it lost about 30% its value. So basically, car it's not really an asset. It's still an asset, but it's depreciating. The value is depreciating all the time. You know, every year 10 or 15%. After 5 years, that 100,000 piece of a car is only worth about 30,000, 40,000. So you lost about two-thirds of the value. So that's the reason why I don't think you try to save money. I mean, basically, you like to see the money grow. Whatever you do, invest in, you grow in value. Not something you purchase something and drop dramatically depreciate. Uh, so so that's the reason one you shouldn't buy. Secondly, well, divert it a little bit. Instead of putting 100, imagine you save 100,000, or you got some money, inherited some money from your family. You got 100,000. Imagine you put in $1,000 as a deposit to purchase a real estate. You borrow the other 300,000 from the bank. Basically, your LVR is only 75%. Value to yeah. So yeah, you got 25% deposit. Most of the bank, you got no problem getting a bank loan, especially you got a reasonable income, permanent job. I would say most bank will lend it to you in Australia without a problem. So, and it's well known that from the history of the real estate, it's in Melbourne anyway. It sort of doubles value in every 8 years. 8 years, 8 years. Okay, and that's the same in it's not just Melbourne, but Sydney, Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, Hobart, even Darwin. They all double in value 8 or 10 years. So maybe the second tier city like Geelong, Ballarat, Bendigo, Cairns, Townsville, Coffs Harbour, Newcastle. Maybe they sort of take about 10 to 12 years to double its value, but they will all go up in value because because of it's a migration, the birth rate. A lot of times the country people, come and live in the city. That's where the jobs are, the education, medical care. A lot of factory or the head office of the firm, international firm. So that's where the jobs are. So basically the city will always grow. So it's a supply and demand situation. So it's sort of imagine you purchase something 400,000. 8 years later, that piece of real estate is worth 800,000. And just to show them that you haven't paid off any of the principal to the bank. So your 800,000 minus what you owe the bank 300, your real net asset is from 100,000 become 500,000. So your piece of real estate worth 800,000. Compared to that, 8 or 10 compared to that with a basically real estate is appreciate in value. It appreciate value very much so. And you're able, because it's a real estate, the bank will have no problem lending you. You got great leverage. If you've got some sort of saving deposit, the bank would have no problem lending you the money to purchase property because today property is a real asset, but not a car. Car they will not consider car as a asset. It's a depreciating asset. Last year could be 3 years ago could be worth 50,000. Now it's worth 30 or 20,000. I mean so the difference is between an appreciating like a piece of item, like a real estate, a property worth about 800,000, something your car is worth 100,000, become only worth about 30,000. So the you can see the difference. It's kind of gigantic difference, isn't it? Imagine one guy, a young man, purchased a property 8 years later, he got a piece of real estate worth 800,000, and the guy all he's got is a his sports car's worth about 30,000 after 8 years. You can't really compare, isn't it? I mean, you don't need to be an accountant to see the difference. You don't need to be so smart to have an MBA to work it out. Okay, so you don't need to be so smart to work out which is a real investment and which is not. Thirdly, the reason number 3 is that, I mean, imagine you don't actually have that 100,000. You got, imagine you should borrow that 100,000 from the bank, or from a personal loan, from a car loan, or short-term loan, to purchase that brand new luxury car. 5 years later, the car dropped in value, and in the meantime, you actually pay, instead of 100,000, you're paying, by the end of 5 years, you actually pay 130 or 140,000. In the meantime, your car's only worth 30,000. So basically in 5 years, your 100,000 is gone, disappear. You're only left with a piece of asset worth 30,000 5 years later. That's not an investment. That is not smart, isn't it? Maybe, yeah, okay. I mean, you got a sports car, brand new car, pretty impressive, isn't it? I mean, kind of together with your sort of branded clothing, very impressed. Your friends will be impressed, or your girlfriend's impressed. So that's fine. I mean, if that's just the kind of lifestyle you want, that's fine. But compared to someone 8 years later, I mean, he's actually on as real estate worth 800,000, or you owning a piece of machine worth 30,000. How's that? I mean, the gap between the two is gigantic, isn't it? I mean, you got to look at long term. You can't just say, obviously instant glorification. Very impressive. It's fine, but you got to look at the long term too, isn't it? I mean, in life. Reason number 4 is also owning a new expensive car. It's also very costly to maintain. I mean, most of the expensive car come from Europe. Expensive to service. The parts are expensive. The labor costs are expensive. Service. Everything. I mean, compared to a sort of more common kind of car, like in Australia, most popular car would be Toyota, Honda, Mazda, Mitsubishi. We all know that by now. A new expensive car is not worth it. Really not worth it. Okay. So be I use the word humble. Be humble. Be it's not a when we're young, when we have when we're not when we don't really have the money, it's no point of not not it's no point of kind of borrow money, try to look impressive, with clothing, luxury lifestyle, expensive restaurant, expensive car. It's not, it's not sustainable. Maybe for a short time, maybe it's kind of glorification for a short time. You have a lot of impress, impressive, impressive friend, a lot of, hang around with the rich people, you know, but it's the end of it. It's you're not there. I know a lot of. I'll just give you one example. There's a lot of very wealthy, rich sort of billionaire. They drive a very common car. I think this guy. I how to pronounce it? He's the boss of IKEA furniture. Invar Kemre. Invar Kemre. He's a Swedish background. He's he's the owner of IKEA furniture. He passed away a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. But he's very frugal. Well, many years ago, he's one of the top, maybe 5 or 6 richest men on earth. Obviously, nowadays, the top 5 richest billionaire, more younger people now up and coming, like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, and all the up and coming entrepreneur, with a new idea. But anyway, he used to this the boss of IKEA. He used to fly economy class. I mean, obviously he's got IKEA for warehouse everywhere. I mean, most of the IKEA stuff come from China, but he's got store everywhere in the world. USA, Europe, Australia, Asia, everywhere, China. Obviously, how can he become one of the richest billionaire? Anyway, he used to travel economy. He used to stay in a budget hotel. Another thing that is amazing is that he drove, or you used to drive his Volvo, the Swedish Volvo 240, for 18 years. For 18 years before he died. I mean, you couldn't believe it. I mean, a Volvo for almost 20 years, it would be in the museum, will be a museum piece. I mean, Volvo is a great car, very solid. You don't want to have an accident with Volvo. Gosh, they're like a tank, But driving almost 20 years Volvo. Can you imagine driving in the suburb here in Melbourne? Oh, you'll be getting a lot of attention. And the other thing, he's such a frugal person. He used to recycle his tea bag. I couldn't believe it. I mean, tea bag. It's about costs about 3 or 4 cents here each. Anyway, I can't imagine. I can't think of anyone then I know it's recycled a tea bag. Anyway, that's one of the richest one of the richest men on earth, one of the billionaire. I'll finish here soon. I know it's kind of not a topic sort of, don't buy a new expensive car. It's maybe it's pretty common topic. I imagine many of you would know that anyway. But yeah, just be careful with the trap of this kind of financial trap. Owning a new expensive car. I mean, can you imagine your first 5 or 10 years of your life, your working life, try to, pay off, some item which depreciate in value quickly. It's it's not worth it. I mean, it may be impressive. I mean, for someone, you need to have financial goal, and you need to have a 5, 10, 20-year plan, to have a sort of eventually a financial sort of achievement. Certainly owning a new luxury car is not one of them. That is going to burn your goal. That's going to destroy your goal. Anyway, I'll finish here. I can think of next topic. I'd love to get to the next topic is something like, build your wealth. Start building your wealth while you're young. I think that's I think that'll be a very interesting topic, and I got a lot of idea on that one. So good night. Oh yeah, before we go, please, you haven't done so, please press the subscribe. You like the content, give me a thumb up, hit the bell. We'll see you next time. Good night. Bye.